In episode 6, Aunt Julie explains that she sold the house to a couple in Boston. She actually has to leave to go sign the paperwork. The kids are floored. They have to turn over their keys. It looks like they're absolutely done. There's nothing they can do. They're defeated. Sky, in a last-ditch effort, pulls her mom aside and explains that she's wrong for this. That, yeah, everything that her mother has said her entire life about the relationship between her father and her sister, yeah, none of that's right. But also, her selling the house the way she's doing it, that's not right. That in these last couple days, Sky's realized how much she does like this place. She wants to stay here. She wants to keep it. She wants to spend summers with her cousins, something that she's missed out on. She wants to spend summers in Cousins. But her mom just tells her, no, I'm sorry. The house is sold. I can't go back on it. Of course, Sky knows that she can go back on it if she wants to, but Aunt Julie is dead set on selling this house, signing the paperwork, and getting this headache over with. As her mom drives away, Sky walks back in the house where all the kids are pretty despondent. They realize that this is probably their last night in the house if they even want it. Even Conrad's admitted defeat when Steven asks, what are we supposed to do now? Go home? Conrad says, yeah, it's over. But Belly's not willing to quit. She tells everybody that their last memory of the house can't be this. Sitting, sad, in an empty place. She reminds the group that after Susanna's dad died, her and Laurel went to the beach house, and it was supposed to be the two of them, but they threw an absolute rager. So Belly's suggestion is throw a rager that night. One last goodbye. Invite everybody they know. They're not looking to trash the house. They're just looking to have one final good memory in the Cousins beach house. Conrad tells everybody that that's exactly what his mother would want. Everybody then kind of disperses. Belly and Taylor go upstairs to find some clothes for this thing, and that's when Belly informs Taylor that the volleyball coach said don't bother coming to camp. Taylor wants to quit volleyball at that point, but Belly says no, you're not quitting volleyball, you're taking the team to states. And then before she can really argue with her, Belly walks out to go talk to Jeremiah. Jeremiah's dealing with this a lot harder than maybe Conrad is, or at least he's showing it. For Jeremiah, it's really setting in that they're done with this house. But just like her idea in the kitchen, Belly's not going to let Jeremiah be sad about this whole situation. She pushes him in the pool, they start frolicking, and next thing you know, they're on top of each other. Nothing happens, though. They don't hook up. Eventually, they just kind of get into some floats and float around discussing the house and how they never thought they were going to lose it, but yet here they are. While talking, though, their hands do kind of touch. I mean, they're not necessarily holding hands, they're more holding fingers. That's when Taylor comes out and kind of inadvertently breaks it up, letting Belly know that Conrad wants her to go on a supply run. He needs help getting alcohol. And Jeremiah, not wanting to lose that moment with Belly, says, oh, I'll come too. So the three head off to the store. Getting alcohol is not going to be easy. Conrad's got a fake ID, but the guy behind the counter knows who Conrad is, so he doesn't get the alcohol. And Jeremiah is really friendly with the guy behind the counter, but their friendship has boundaries. And that boundary is trying to get alcohol when you're not 21. That's when Belly decides to give it a shot. And Belly is just honest with the guy. He reminds him how Jeremiah and Conrad just lost their mother a couple months ago. And now they're losing the house. They want to throw one last rager of a party, and they need his help. And tugging at those heartstrings works because the guy wheels out a bunch of alcohol right to their car. But with all that alcohol, they're going to need people. And that's up to Steven and Taylor to send the invites out. They're both in the kitchen. Steven's in the process of just writing out the invites. And Taylor is finally getting caught up with Milo, her boyfriend. But Steven's jealousy can't have that. He's interrupting the conversation every single which way. He's asking pointless questions that he could clearly figure out the answers to. And when Taylor does get back into a conversation with Milo, Steven finds another way to get in the middle of it. As Taylor is trying to ignore Steven and actually focus on the conversation that's in front of her, Steven rudely grabs the phone, starts mocking Milo, and then eventually hangs up on him. He then can't figure out why that is so incredibly annoying and not funny at all. As for Sky, she had to go over to Cam Cameron's place to go get some DJ equipment. The two start bonding a little bit. Cam opened up more about his sister and his family life, how after his sister died, his dad couldn't really handle it, so he split. And that caused Cam and his mom to get super close. When he mentions how he doesn't know who's going to take it worse next year when he goes off to college, him or his mom, Sky asks him, "Is that why you didn't take that internship on the whaling boat?" And he kind of gives a, "Yeah, I guess." But then he admits that he never actually told his mom. The issue is going to come in about a week when that whaling ship comes back into town. He's got to keep his mom away from the captain because he knows that if the captain mentions to his mom this internship opportunity, his mom's actually going to want him to do it. And Sky can't believe this. She says, "Dude, you got to go on the boat." So Cam agrees to at least give it one more thought. Sky and Cam transport the equipment back over to the house, and Sky walks out to let Taylor know that she's back, and she's kind of interrupting a moment between Taylor and Steven. She doesn't really realize it, though. And Taylor, realizing she was kind of getting caught up in a moment, decides to go help Sky and Cam set up the speakers. But now they need decorations. And after getting the alcohol, Belly, Jeremiah, and Conrad head out to the party store. It's at the party store where Belly finally gets Conrad alone to apologize what happened the day of Susanna's funeral. She didn't mean to make it about her, but she did. And Conrad explains to Belly exactly what happened, that it really wasn't what it looks like. How Conrad suffered a panic attack, and that girl just happened to be the first one to find him. Apologies are accepted, all's forgiven, but there's a little bit of a, I wouldn't call it an elephant in the room, it's more of like a alpaca in the room. There's a cold war going on between Conrad and Jeremiah, still. Every time one of them sees the other doing anything with Belly, they feel like they need to get their time, like they might be losing her to their brother. The fact is, these two still have feelings for the same girl. But for now, it's just that. It's just a cold war. It's very subtle. And after buying the supplies, the group heads home. When Belly gets home, the first thing she does is link up with Taylor and Sky. And Taylor was giving Sky some kissing advice because Sky's never kissed a boy. Taylor jokingly says, "You got to talk to the expert over here, Belly." And Belly goes through what it was like kissing each boy. Cam, Jeremiah, Conrad, and the differences in all of them. The girls then get ready for the party. And as always, Taylor starts talking to Belly about why she should hook up with Jeremiah, how Jeremiah is the better one. And Belly confides in Taylor how the reason why Jeremiah didn't kiss her during Truth or Dare was because, as he put it, he wouldn't be able to stop. But then she had this weird moment with Conrad earlier in the day, so she just kind of conflicted. A little while later, the party kicks off. Belly is the party host. She's skating around in roller skates, giving everybody alcohol. And it looks like everybody they've invited has shown up, including some of the Deb girls. Nicole, Dara, Marissa, they've all shown up. There is, though, one unexpected guest, and it's Milo. After the whole fiasco with just trying to talk to Taylor and Steven cock-blocking every which way, Milo decided to get in his car and drive to Cousins. When he shows up at the party, he asks both Sky and Cam where Taylor is, but his douchey exterior got both of them to just give him a plain, "We don't know where she is." So Milo is aimlessly wandering around this party looking for his girlfriend. As he heads off, both Sky and Cam realize they probably should actually find Taylor to warn her. So they start walking around, but the party's so crowded they realize pretty quickly, we're not finding Taylor. She can figure it out on her own. The two then just have a seat. They start chatting. Cam tells Sky after thinking about it, he is going to take the whaling ship internship. And then Sky asks if it'd be cool if they kissed them, and Cam's totally cool with that. So the two end up hooking up, and it's Sky's first kiss. Meanwhile, back inside at the party, it gets a lot easier for Milo to find Taylor because Taylor and Steven have a crowd around them. They're performing Party in the USA, an all-time banger. It's a throwback to when Taylor and Belly used to sing this thing ad nauseum. Used to annoy Steven back then. Not anymore. Not the way Taylor's looking. When their dance routine finally ends, Steven pulls Taylor in and says, "Yeah, I like you. You used to annoy me, but now you're somebody I miss when you're not there." As Steven's bearing his soul to Taylor, that's when Milo finally finds her. And boy, he is not happy. A fight breaks out, which does interrupt Belly and Jeremiah almost kissing. And Taylor tried to put an end to the fight, but it didn't work. And this fight is absolutely cringeworthy. I mean, nothing about Steven indicates that this guy would be a good fighter. And Milo should easily be able to tune this guy up, but it looks like two hobos trying to hump a football. It's cringeworthy. When it finally kind of dies down, neither one of them really landing any punch. Milo gets up and says, all right, Taylor, come on, let's get out of here. But Taylor says, no, I'm not leaving. These are my friends. Milo doesn't think these people really are her friends, but Taylor knows that these people know her way better than Milo does. And to prove it, she says, what's my middle name? And Milo can't answer it. But Steven does. And knowing her middle name just won Steven Taylor's heart. Taylor breaks it off with Milo, and now she's with a Princeton man. With those two nuzzling up with each other, Sky gets a text message from her mom, and she has to pull Belly, Conrad, and Jeremiah aside because she thinks it's great news. She's been texting her mom since she left, and she got her mom to put a provision in the sale that will force the new owners to rent the house to Conrad and Jeremiah for 1 week every summer. That way, they don't have to lose the house. They can still spend time there. Belly's excited about it. Jeremiah is so pumped about it. The only person who isn't excited about it is Conrad. He hates the idea that they would pay to stay in their house. But as Jeremiah reminds him, Conrad, it's not our house anymore. And that's when the Cold War really explodes. Hormones and alcohol are mixing. It's not a good concoction. And an argument about the house somehow turns into an argument about Conrad breaking Belly's heart. It backfires, though. When Jeremiah says, yeah, well, when stuff got tough, Conrad couldn't handle it, so he dropped you, Belly. Belly looks at Jeremiah and says, don't use me to get back at him. I'm not doing this. I'm walking away. Well, Belly does walk away. The pissing contest doesn't end. It gets insanely personal until finally they just go their separate ways. Conrad goes searching for Belly. He finds her as she's stumbling around the beach, and they get into it. They get into it about their relationship, about the broken heart. Once again, it's alcohol and it's hormones, and it's not a good mixture. Belly is certainly feeling some kind of way. She goes back to the party, she grabs some alcohol, and she starts stumbling around. But then she looks around in her environment, and this really isn't the way she wants to remember the house. Getting beat up by a bunch of teenagers. She's in such an emotional state that she goes upstairs, she calls her mom, and she starts crying into Laurel's voicemail, telling her that Susanna's house has been sold, and she's really going through a tough time at the moment. Thank you so much for checking out this recap. Please consider subscribing to the channel and subscribing to my Patreon. Hit thumbs up if you liked it. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. If you left a comment, I don't get back to you. I usually don't check the comments unless they're like a super comment. Also, if you don't see the next video up on the end screen, not to worry, it'll be up in a day or two.